Okay, so I'm going to carry on with this journal. I've got allergies today, so I'm going to be quite blocked up and sneezy sounding, so apologies for that. But I don't want to wait another day. So we've got our cover here. This is dry, so we've got a fairly stiff spine and our covers. And we want to cover the outside with fabric. And I'm using a thick fabric is best for this, I would say, although it does work with thinner fabrics. This is like a furnishing fabric, and I've cut it so it's just a little bit bigger all round than the card. And I'm just going to literally, I'm not going to glue this down, I'm just going to stitch. I am just going to show you how, if I wanted to glue it down, I would probably just tack it with some, I would certainly do this with a thinner fabric, but for this one it should be fine. But I can just tack it down like that if I want to. Make sure we've got no puckers on the outside, and I'm actually going to sew from the inside, and I'm going to use a zigzag stitch and just do a wiggly line basically over this. I've got a toning thread in my sewing machine, a sort of grey for this one, in the bobbin and the top reel. So let me go and stitch this, and then I'll show you how it looks. The only thing you need to do is to try and stop it puckering as much as possible. So just keep everything flat as you're going along. You can just start with one whole line straight the way through, which sort of anchors it in place. So let me go away and do that, then I'll be back. Okay, so I've done the stitching. I started here and I've just wriggled round. Doesn't really matter how you do that. And there's sort of a little bit of slight puckering, but nothing that's going to worry me. And actually with this particular fabric, you can't even see where I've stitched. It doesn't matter if you can see the stitching. This is another one I've done, which has got matching thread, but it's a different kind of fabric. You can also see where it hasn't caught here. Doesn't matter, it's just how it looks. It looks absolutely fine. So that's our basic stitching. What we're going to do now is cut this off around the edges. You can use scissors for this, but I actually quite like to use a rotary cutter. And I'm going to cut it slightly larger or slightly over the, just slightly beyond the edge of the card. I really don't want it too far past the edge. That's a little bit far, but it'll be fine. I think my rotary cutter needs a new blade. So that's that. I might decide to cut this down just a fraction more. This is a very fraying fabric. Might leave it actually. Okay, so at this point, the next thing I like to do is decide which way up this is going to be. Usually one way looks more right than the other for some reason. And I'm going to put an image on the front, if I can find it. I've got this Mrs. Cog image here, and I'm just going to mount it on some, what's this? This is cotton rag paper. You could put it on another little bit of fabric, just some plain cream fabric if you wanted to. So just gluing that a little bit on there, not right to the edge, just with a bit of glue stick to tear this off. I've got this tear ruler, I can't remember where I got that from. I'm sure Amazon can help. So this is going on the front of our book. And again, I'm just going to tack that down with a bit of glue stick. I like to make sure the actual picture is relatively straight. By that I mean exactly straight. So I just check it to the edges. There we go. And then I'm going to take that back to my machine, and I'm just going to zigzag around this edge. So let me do that and I'll be back. So we've got our image on the front. This is, as I said, is a Mrs. Cog image, and it's from a set called Greenhouse, I think. It's probably my all-time favourite set. And the other thing I'm going to do is zigzag around the edge of this. I want to pin it down around the edges and stop it fraying. Again, on this particular one, I'm going to do it from the inside because I want to go around the edge of the card. Either way is fine, really, just whichever suits, if I'm honest. So let me go away and do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've gone around the edges. I've also trimmed my fabric just a little closer to the card, and there's our cover. At this stage, you've got a choice. You can leave it as it is. It's a perfectly adequate cover for a journal. Excuse me. Oh dear, allergies. Or you can neaten this up a bit. I quite like to add some fabric onto the inside just to try and neaten it up a little bit. It does mean that you need eventually to stitch round again. I like to glue my fabric as well. This one, you can see the glue marks. I used a bit too much. This one, a bit better, I guess. I'm not sure it matters much for your own pleasure. So for this, I would tend to use something like Mod Podge and brush it on. You want a thin layer of glue, basically. So let's see if I can show you. Matte Mod Podge I've got here. I've not got a whole lot left, so hopefully there's enough. Try and go outwards so that I don't pull in threads from the outside. Sometimes that works, sometimes not so well. Try and work quite quickly because I don't want it to dry before I can stick the fabric down. See, I've got bits of the edge of the fabric on there. It's not the end of the world. This is a personal use journal. And I quite like to get some of the edge of my fabric covered as well, because it all helps stop the fraying. Some people love the fraying. I do when I see other people's journals, but for my own, I don't know, can't seem to go down that route. So that should do it. Let's take my fabric. This is a little bit of medium weight canvas. Spread that out. Just put the top on that. And then before we do any more stitching, finishing off, this needs to dry properly, so we'll let that dry, and then I will stitch again. What I'll do once that dry is I'll cut this fabric off. Oh, just got away with it there. Cut this off, and then I will stitch round again, round the edge, another zigzag layer, just to make sure that all the edges of this fabric are secure, and then we were ready to get the pages in.